Everyone, back again with another video. This time I am going to show you how to pick images for your wedding album. So, as we've talked about before, creating a favorites list is essentially where we start in the album making process. So, I'm going to show you how if I were a client or if I'm designing, an album, like a sample album, how I would pick the images that would go in that album. So here is a gallery from Emily and Michael's wedding. So just scrolling down here, you will see all of the different sections. So what I essentially like to do is go through each section individually and pick out my favorites from there. So I'm just going to start with the first one and just power on through. So I'm going to literally walk through this entire thing. So say I'm probably going to pick out about 50 or 60 images, because that is about right for a 30-page album, I think. I'm just throwing out numbers off the top of my head, but we're just going to go with it. So, starting with Bridal Prep. Just going to go through. So, I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily think about how important detail images are when it comes to telling the story of your day through a wedding album. So I definitely encourage my couples to make sure they add some details in, so that way they're getting a full perspective when they're looking at their album, so it doesn't feel like parts of their day is missing. So I'm just gonna start right here, making my list. All right, let's do this. And I also encourage my couples, because the amount, depending on the size of your album, I will give you an amount of images to pick. Now, this is not ensuring that every single image is going to go in the album, but it is a starting point for me. So that way, whenever I design it, I have options. And so I can see each album is custom designed based on what you pick. So if you have more in there, that gives me a little bit of extra to work with when it comes to the design of your album. And I encourage to do horizontal and vertical images. So that way, and that just depends on the album design in general, because sometimes whenever I'm putting the images together, and depending on what you pick, a certain images look better grouped together, and I might easily need to swap out a vertical shot of the shoes for a horizontal shot of the shoes. So if you put both of them in there, that's awesome. That way I have it's right there, easy for me to access. I'm just gonna scroll down. Put a ring shot in there. I think I'll do this one. Where's her dress? Do the horizontal and the vertical just in case. And then, of course, candids. Candids are always wonderful. And don't feel bad if you're picking images where you can't see the person's face either, because, again, like I said, these little details, like this image, for example, is telling the story of the day. That there. And as you can see, I am definitely not counting any of the images that I'm putting in. I am just going with it. So I don't expect you to count whenever you're doing it either. Just makes it a lot easier to think about it. You can always narrow your list down further as you go along. And this is a cute thing. They did a gift exchange. Actually, her brothers, she did a first look with her dad and her brothers brought her a little gift, and then after that she opened her little gift from her husband Mike. So that was kind of fun. It was a fun little moment. So just add that there. A couple more details. And I personally think there can never be enough flower pictures, so of course I'm gonna like all the flower pictures in there. But they're nice like transition images too, to go from, you know, showing one thing versus another. So I think that is about it for images. Again, you can always go back, scroll back up, and go over to Groom Prep. Same thing with the groom. Details are vital. And you always see the groom pictures are way more casual and laid back. And usually the girls are hustling to get ready. These. Cool. All right. And ceremony. And when it comes to bigger portions of the day, like the ceremony or the reception, I encourage you to pick pictures that are, I guess, more of the highlights of the ceremony. And of course, a nice detail shot of the whole thing is great too. But definitely, sorry for my dogs barking. You're definitely going to hear that in this video. But yes, the highlight parts of the ceremony are always the great things to put in. Scroll down. For example, the bride coming down the stairs, or with her walking down the aisle with her father. The hardest part is picking which one, of course, but to those. Groom reaction is always great. Oh my goodness, these dogs are not going to stop barking. That's embarrassing. I'm sorry. Sorry that you have to hear that. I think usually throw in one of the ring shots. Let's see which one. Do that one. That's a good one. And of course, you can't leave out the kiss. Do horizontal and vertical. That one. And that one. All right. Family portraits. I feel like out of all of the images that go in the album, I feel like usually the family portraits are narrowed down to a few. And actually, it's usually the parent shots that that end up making the cut. That's just usually what I feel like what my couples gravitate towards. They, you know, they get the most important. I mean, the parents are the most important people besides the bride and groom, right? So, I guess that makes sense. I think in my wedding album, I think I only put a picture of us with our parents. Do that one. Actually, which one did I favorite? There. So if you're going through, like I just favorited too many. So all I have to do is click on the heart again and it's taken out of the favorites list. That easy. All right. Small family, so let's go to bridal party. And I feel like the most pictures that you would probably want in the wedding album is the pictures of the bride and groom. Like, I feel like those can essentially go anywhere throughout the album. They're great for transitioning between pages. I like to do a lot of pictures with the bride and groom across an entire spread, so that's across 2 pages. So I feel like the more you have in there of them is totally fine. Let's do one more of the guys. Scroll down to the girls. Look how beautiful these girls are. Keep scrolling. Bouquet shot. I feel, like I said, flowers. I will never have too many flower pictures. Probably do one of these, one of these. All right, cool. So there's 2 more parts of the night to go. I'm just gonna check and see what I got in my favorites list. So I have 41 images, so that's good. Pretty solid amount. Go back to bride and groom. This was one of my favorite first look reactions. Like, that says it all. If you're questioning on whether to do a first look at that face. That's fantastic. I wish my husband made that surprise face. And another thing to think about, especially for, I feel like especially for the bride and groom pictures in particular, close-up shots and pulled back shots are both things that you want to give your album a little bit more variety. So as you can see, like a little detail like that works so beautifully, especially in between, like if it's paired right next to, like, you know, an image that's a little bit more pulled back, or even something like this that's a lot more pulled back. So definitely make sure you have a good variety in there. We'll throw one of these in there too. Don't typically do a lot of pictures where both the bride and groom are looking at the camera, but throw them in there whenever we have one, just to have that one formal shot. I should have probably opted to record this video when the dogs would be so crazy. Because they're just barking throughout this whole thing. They kill me. So I'll put some pictures of just the bride. Another detail. Where's that picture that I wanted? And these. Take that one off. And as you can see, I am like trying to power through this quickly so this video doesn't end up being like 20 minutes long, but obviously you can take your time in deciding what you want to go in your album. There's no rush whatsoever. I start designing as soon as you tell me that you're done picking, so that just depends on how quickly you want to get your album back to you. But and then again with the reception, I do, because there's more details usually at the reception than there is for the ceremony, I still like to throw a little bit more details in. But after I pick out, the best of the best for the details, then I usually just go straight for the highlight portions of the reception. Oh, look at this little girl. She was the cutest. Gotta get the cake. Great. Of course, the entrance. And like little images like that are just kind of the in-between are super cute too. Do one with Dad. Did I miss Mom? Where's Mom? Maybe I missed it. Cookies. I mean, you can never really have enough cookie pictures, right? So then just adding some fun dancing shots, because there was definitely a lot of fun dancing going on at this wedding, so definitely worth having in there. And then there's Mom. I knew she was around here somewhere. Then I'll do just a couple more highlights, and then that should be good. There's a lot of really great toasts during this reception too, which is fun. All right. So I think that's it. So then click on the favorites list up here, 72. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I definitely added images that are horizontal and vertical, so obviously those duplicates won't make the cut. And then from there, I pick essentially what works best for the album. So there is that. And then another video coming up is going to be showing you how I design the album from here. So if you are interested in seeing some behind the scenes, then keep a lookout on the blog, because it's going to be coming up pretty soon. Thing I forgot to mention at the end of that video was, as soon as you're completely done making your favorites list for your wedding album, you will, let me go back here. So you'll click the heart to get into your favorites. And then over here, you'll see this little arrow and it says share. So you'll click on that and you click the button that says send a photographer. And you can leave a little note. And send. So then I will get the list. So then I know that you are done. And from there, as soon as you send that, I'm going to right away start the first draft of your album. So that's it. I just forgot to add that to it, so I just wanted to add it.